girl Keisha being back with another video. So I didn't start my morning off vlogging because I woke up super late this morning. Today is Monday, January the 23rd. And this morning I woke up late. My intentions was to wake up at 2 a.m. so I could start my day by 3 o'clock. I got my load yesterday. And I am currently like 283 miles out from where I'm actually dropping this load at. It's a drop and hook load, which means I drop the trailer, pick up an empty, and then I'll figure out where I'm going next. So to drive 283 miles, it's gonna be a total of maybe 5.5 hours, because for every 100 miles it takes 2 hours to get there. So I wanted to come in and make a video tonight since I am in the mood about trucking. Now, of course, granted, everybody's situation is going to be different. Nobody's situation is going to be the same. Now, this video is going to be about me getting my CDLs, and was it hard? Now, I get asked there a lot. People always ask me, was getting my CDL hard? And the truth of the matter is, I won't say getting my CDL was hard. It was a lot of mind-wrecking things going on, but as far as getting my CDL, it most definitely wasn't hard. But what I will say, I ended up going to a company called Rail Transport, and I got my CDL through them, which it was a 3-week course. And you may have to stay a 4th week if you fail your test the first time. So my experience with Rail Transport was great. That first week kicked my ass. I ain't even gonna lie to you, because after the 3rd day I was saying, oof, God, I don't think I could do this. I ain't meant to do this. But I just kept in mind, I stayed positive. I did have to learn 129 parts. I think it was 129. Don't quote me, but I want to say it was 129 parts. And they wanted us to learn those 129 parts within that first week. So they wanted us to be able to do a whole pre-trip of our truck in that first week before you can drive. Now, each trainer that you may get could be different. My trainer that I had, his name was Mr. James. He required us to know the full pre-trip before he even let us drive. But I learned my pre-trip, most of my pre-trip, everything under my hood, I learned in 1 day. So, I mean, everybody learning experience is different. You know, I pick up pretty quick on things, but I learned everything in 1 day as far as under my hood when it came to my trailer and my tractor on the back end. Now that took me like another day. So it's like I pretty much broke it down into steps, and that's how you really gonna learn the parts, is being able to break them down, read what's on the paper, and be able to say it without the paper. So what I did was I read at least 3 parts until I was able to memorize those 3 parts. Then I would go on into the next part to where I can incorporate those 3 parts that I just said verbatim with the other 3 parts that I have learned. So that made it a whole lot easier for me. But what I will say, my first week in truck driving school, I really didn't want to talk to nobody at home, because I had to learn so much. And it's like, you really don't have the time to talk to people. It's more so to say, like, your brain, baby, your brain gonna be fried, dyed, and laid to the damn side. So what I will say is, it did take a lot out of you, but being able to have somebody to study with you is going to be a great help. One thing I do know is when it comes down to the air brakes and the in-cab inspection, those things have to be basically said verbatim. Now, I can't speak for every state, but I know that the state I was in, everything had to be said verbatim when it came down to the in-cab inspection and the air brake test. If you miss something on your air brake test, it's an automatic fail once you go to DMV. Now, that first week, we started backing and they took us out on the road or whatever, but the second week we got tested by the school itself on a Wednesday, And basically the people that test you are the people who determine if you're ready to go and take your driving test at the DMV the following week, or if you need more time to be able to practice on your weak areas. So basically it's to learn where you're weak at. And so of course I passed my second week with flying colors, but however I did run into a snag when it came down to driving. And what I mean by that is because the way they do it, they want you to constantly look out of both windows, check your speed, which it could be aggravating because damn, if I'm doing this, then I'm fucking dizzy by the time I look up. I don't even know if a car coming. You know what I'm saying? So it that was kind of weird. But they failed me at the school and not DMV because of that. And I'm just like, well, how do y'all expect for me to move my head from side to side and check my damn speed without getting dizzy? Because they were saying you got to keep doing it like almost clockwork. And I'm just like, See, they was doing too much. I can't do all of that. But I passed, motherfucker, when I went to DMV. Now, so backing, the type of backing that we did was straight back, parallel, offset, and we didn't do 90 or 60 degree. It all depends on what state you go into. Like I said, yeah, those were the 3 backing techniques that we learned. I think, yeah, offset, parallel, and straight back. And offset, you got to be able to do it from both sides. Now, it really didn't take me long to do that. I was able to catch on, like I said, that first week. Once I learned my pre-trip, I was able to go into my backing and really didn't have no errors. It's just being able to find what technique works for you. Now, you do have to keep in mind that every technique that you may be taught may not work for you. You just have to find a solution to what works for you, if that makes sense, because a lot of the things that I was taught didn't work for me. So I just found my own solution to be able to figure out what it was that worked for me. And I'm one of those people, I got to be able to see it. So when my trainer would go into details about certain things, if you're a visual person, I say get out the truck and be like, well, let me get out so I can see it, because that's how it worked for me. So with me being in the truck with my trainer really didn't work for me. I was one of those people, you got to let me out, and then while you do it, I got to be able to watch you do it, because once I watch you do it, I'm looking for my own technique that works for me. Everybody learn different. Now, what I will say, I went in the summertime and it was super hot. But overall, I can't speak for every school. Once again, I can only speak for Rail Transport. They paid for my hotel for 3 weeks. They also gave me breakfast and lunch. I had to provide my own dinner. We went to school 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. Saturday was a half day. We didn't do a whole day on Saturdays. We just went in to watch videos. But overall, my experience with Rail Transport truck driving school was great. Now, however, once I got my CDL, I didn't stay with the current company because they wanted me to do flatbed, which I stayed with the flatbed for a little while, but flatbed really wasn't for me. So I didn't work my full year with them. You know what I'm saying? And I left because they wasn't trying to move me to a new position, which I didn't want to do flatbed because, for one, I'm not a person that liked the cold, and it was super cold in some states that I went into, and my hands and stuff was freezing, and I like to get my nails done. So being able to do flatbed just was not for me. Now, I can't speak for everybody, but what I will say is, if you don't like the cold, don't do flatbed. At least do dry van or either reefer. And I chose to do dry van after the fact because dry van is totally different from reefer, but I'm gonna leave that in another video. But yeah, overall, I learned great things from Rail Transport. One thing I will say is my trainer did push us to the limit. He pushed us to make sure that we got them CDLs within them 3 weeks, and that was the greatest part about it. But getting your CDL is not hard. You have to be determined to be able to master getting your CDL, and if you're not determined, then of course it don't work for you. So getting your CDL, you most definitely have to be determined. If that's something that you want to do, I say go after it. Me personally, I wanted them CDLs, and I wasn't going home without my CDL. So regardless of what I faced, if I was weak in some areas, I put my pride to the side. I asked for additional help if I felt like it was needed. But overall, rail transport was a good truck driving school training to go to. It worked for me. So if you a person that learn fast, I would suggest rail transport, because their program is only 3 weeks. Most schools are longer than that from what I've heard. I'm not sure. I can only speak on what I've been through. But rail transport was most definitely I had a great experience with them far as school. And yeah. So getting your CDL is not hard. At least it wasn't hard for me. Now, of course, you have people that go and can't master the concept. But I'll say almost 80% of the people that go to rail transport graduate. Everybody that I went to school with when I went graduated. When I graduated. And even the classes that came in after me, everybody graduated. So it's solely based upon you. But if you're going to get your CDL, just be focused with it. Don't go in playing with it.